right, welcome back. Your demand and excitement for our amazing analysis knows no bounds. We're grateful to you. Thanks for listening and watching. Let's do another question. Zach, are you ready to go?
Sure, yes.
All right, so we did question 1 of debate 1. What are we going to do now?
Let's try question 2 and see how it goes.
Sounds very logical.
I'll tell you why it's a smart question, okay?
Okay.
If you want to set up Trump, he promised that he will replace Obamacare. He couldn't because Senate didn't vote for it. At the last moment, McCain betrayed everybody and switched his vote. And that was a single vote, and Obamacare stayed, okay, because of McCain. So he didn't really abandon Obamacare. He did some changes, major changes. For example, we don't have to pay some taxes if we don't use Obamacare, stuff like that. But basically, Obamacare stays. And that's his big problem. He promised, it was his big promise, replace Obamacare, and he didn't. So he's asking him, why didn't you do it? The problem Trump faces, the honest answer would have been, I tried and McCain betrayed me and betrayed all Republicans because McCain ran on this. McCain always said that he will vote against Obamacare and replace it. And at the last moment, because it was Trump, he didn't give him the vote. So he can go there because then he will look like weak excuse. So why did you promise if it depended on Senate? That would have been question. What I want to discuss with us is, suppose we are in Trump's shoes, how to react, what is truth, how to, what's the right answer? I'll tell you as an example. If I were Trump, I would have said, I tried, you are right, I promised, I didn't deliver major change because McCain betrayed me. That's what would have been my answer. And I would have understood this. I know that that's true. What can he do? And instead, I remember now my feelings. Instead, he tried to kind of produce a lot of noise. And he didn't look good. And that's what is interesting. Maybe what is interesting, because you didn't watch it, maybe my reaction was wrong. Maybe, like with the first question, we figure out that it was really not a bad answer that he produced. I didn't like it really. It's like a Democrat answer coming from him. Oh, I made this change. And Chris is right, actually. About a week ago, certainly, I'm sure in preparation for this debate, he did some executive decision that had some title about healthcare, and it was mainly slogans, nothing. I think the right answer would have been McCain and Supreme Court. I'm not a dictator.
That's a good answer. That's a good answer.
Yeah, that's what I promised that I do whatever I could. I went to Supreme Court, liberal. They shut me down. I went to Senate, and I was betrayed by McCain. What can I do?
Yeah, that's a good answer.
I think it would have been a good answer. We want to listen to what he says?
Sure.
First of all, I guess I'm debating you, not him, but that's okay. I'm not surprised. Let me just tell you something. There's nothing symbolic. I'm cutting drug prices. I'm going with favored nations, which no president has the courage to do because you're going against big pharma.
Drug prices has nothing to do with the question.
No, that's not true.
No, it is true.
No.
In general Medicare, it wasn't a question about Obamacare, and he didn't cut drug prices yet. He's still talking about it. I'm cutting.
He's definitely answering the question that is on the mind of the viewer hearing the moderator's question, which is, what do I have to pay for my health?
Okay.
Pharma. drug prices will be coming down 80 or 90%. You could have done it during your 47-year period in government, but you didn't do it. Nobody's done it. So we're cutting health care. All of the things that we've done, insulin.
You were saying something?
No, that's just Biden interrupting.
Okay.
I'll give you an example. Insulin. It was destroying families, destroying people because I'm getting it for so cheap. It's like water. You want to know the truth. So cheap. Take a look at all of the drugs what we're doing, prescription.
I remember when I was watching it, I shrugged. What is it? Why are you talking about insulin?
If that's true, that's huge. I just don't believe it.
And he didn't do it either. But even if it's, I mean, it
that's
reduced
huge.
maybe price of health care for some people. It's not what he promised. It's not why I voted for him. What I'm talking about is he should have said, I'll reduce the price of insulin. I wouldn't have picked up my ass and vote for him. I went and voted because he said I will abandon Obamacare and replace it. Now he's talking about insulin.
Well, hang on a second.
Prescription drug prices.
It's like what he did with the first question, I think. The people who voted for him to abolish Obamacare, if the choice is between him and Biden, they're not going to vote for Biden if that's their number one choice, because they know if whatever probability, if anything will happen with Obamacare, it'll happen under Trump. He's already tried. They know the McCain story. They know the Supreme Court. He's trying to win over the undecided and some Democrat voters. And what their concern isn't a specific campaign promise from a guy they didn't vote for 4 years ago. It's how much do they have to pay to stay alive and stay healthy. And drug prices, especially insulin prices, really do have an important big problem for people, especially in America where so many people are overweight.
Okay, I'll tell you why I think you're wrong, okay?
Okay.
When you compare to the first question, I agreed with you that he went into kind of space, more general, and explained his position. After I discussed it with you, I agree. But this is, it's different. It's a contract between me, not between Chris, between me and Trump. He promised me something, he didn't deliver. And he doesn't admit, he doesn't want to admit that he didn't deliver. He's talking about insulin. It's a different issue because I may not vote for him this time. And I'm watching him. He's losing his base, he's losing me. If he doesn't answer directly, then, whatever promise he makes right now, he will say, oh, I was talking about insulin if he starts pinning him down. I don't want this. That's any other politician would play this game. From him, I expect honest answer, and he is not giving honest answer.
Well, technically, the question was about what is the Trump healthcare plan?
No.
Yes, it was. Listen to the question.
Okay.
Everything else was an introduction. You said this, you said that, whatever. What is the Trump healthcare plan? That's the question.
Okay, let's go back. Let's listen.
On health care, and then we'll come back to Roe v. Wade. All right, Mr. President, the Supreme Court will hear a case a week after the election in which the Trump administration, along with 18 state attorneys general, are seeking to overturn Obamacare, to end Obamacare. You have spent the last...
Because they want to give good health care.
If I may ask my question, sir.
Good health care.
Over the last 4 years, you have promised to repeal and replace Obamacare, but you have never in these 4 years come up with a plan, a comprehensive plan to replace Obamacare.
Of course I have.
Well, I'll give you an opportunity. When I finish, I'm going to give you an opportunity.
I got rid of the individual mandate, which was the big chunk of
comprehensive
Obamacare. That is absolutely a big thing. That was the worst part of Obamacare. Chris, that was the worst part of Obama.
Let me ask my question.
Well, I'll ask Joe. The individual mandate was the most unpopular aspect of Obamacare. I got rid of it.
I'd like you,
we will
Mr.
protect people.
President, I'm the moderator of this debate, and I would like you to let me ask my question, and then you can answer.
Go ahead.
You, in the course of these 4 years, have never come up with a comprehensive plan to replace Obamacare, and just this last Thursday, you signed a largely symbolic executive order to protect people with pre-existing conditions 5 days before this debate. So my question, sir, is what is the Trump healthcare plan?
Phil, you're absolutely right. I missed it.
Thank you. And there's a reason why he didn't say he'd failed at Obamacare. Because in the question, it's happening in whatever he said a week from now or 2 weeks, right? They're about to have a case heard again on Obamacare. What's there to apologize for?
Yeah, because I didn't know that, I didn't miss that too. There are several Republican governors are suing against Obamacare, and they might win because of his new nomination. Right.
He fulfilled exactly the promise he gave to you. What's the problem? Now the question is about his health care.
And he starts explaining, you're right again. It's embarrassing. I was so worked up. I think you're right again, because to me it sounds like minor thing, insulin or some drugs, but for him it was big fight. I really believe that it took a lot of time to make a lot of calls, scream at a lot of people to make these changes, and he is proud of what he achieved.
Yes.
It wasn't easy. It hasn't been done before.
And it's valuable.
And it's valuable. So don't tell me that he doesn't have any plan. Maybe you're right. Let me listen. Do you mind? Yeah, I want to listen to his answer again.
Sure.
Well, first of all, I guess I'm debating you, not him, but that's okay. I'm not surprised. Let me just tell you something. There's nothing.
And you're absolutely right. The question is, what's your comprehensive health care plan?
Right.
I'm cutting drug prices. I'm going with favored nations, which no president has the courage to do because you're going against big pharma. Drug prices will be coming down 80 or 90%. You could have done it during your 47-year period in government, but you didn't do it. Nobody's done it. So we're cutting health care. All of the things that we've done.
Yeah, he's saying it's not a minor thing. It looks minor thing, but it's a big deal. You couldn't buy it.
And it's not one of the major costs people have is paying for drugs.
That is true. That is true.
Insulin. I give you an example. Insulin. It was destroying families, destroying people because I'm getting it for so cheap. It's like water. You want to know the truth. So cheap. Take a look at all of the drugs what we're doing, prescription drug prices. We're going to allow our governors now to go to other countries to buy drugs because they pay just a tiny fraction.
This is open discussion.
No,
let me ask you you'll be happy, sir. You'll be happy. I'm about to pick up on one of your points to ask the vice president, which is he points out that you would like to add a public option to Obamacare. And the argument that he makes and other Republicans make is that is going to end private insurance.
It is
and
not.
I ask you the question. It will end.
What the party says, by the way.
It will end private insurance and create a government takeover of health care.
It does not. It's only for those people who are so poor they qualify for Medicaid. They can get that free in most states, except governors who want to deny people who are poor Medicaid. Anyone who qualifies for Medicare Medicaid would automatically be enrolled in the public option. The vast majority of the American people would still not be in that option. Number one.
Joe, you agree with Bernie Sanders, who's far left, on the manifesto, we call it. That gives you socialized medicine.
Look, hey, I'm not going to listen to him. The fact of the matter is, I beat Bernie Sanders.
Not by much.
I beat him a whole hell of a lot. I'm here standing facing you.
Pocahontas would have left 2 days early. You would have lost every primary.
All he knows how to do
Super
is
Tuesday. You got very lucky.
Here's the deal. I got very lucky. I'm going to get very lucky tonight as well. And tonight I'm going to make sure, because here's the deal. Here's the deal. The fact is that everything he's saying so far is simply a lie. I'm not here to call out his lies. Everybody knows he's a liar. But I just want to make sure. I want to.
That's a slow road.
What is that?
You couldn't answer questions in general. Everything is a lie. I don't want to even discuss it. What is it? And Trump is saying reasonable questions because Biden is trying to say that it's a small number of people, but then later on in the debate, when we listen to him, he will say hundreds of millions of people should be on this health care or without health care or something. There is clearly, there is no question about it that he wants to make government health care. And everybody, it would have been honest answer from his point of view, but he's saying, oh, no, a small number of people, Trump doesn't mind. Nobody minds if there is a small number of people who are without means, and maybe the government will have special fund for them. But he can't answer this and he starts saying, "Oh, everybody knows he's a liar." He obviously didn't read my book.
Yeah, and it's a silly thing to say. Look, if you're going to call somebody a liar, you don't just, like you write in your book, shotgun approach. You don't just say everything he says is a lie, right?
Right.
Make at least one example. What did he say today?
Shrapnel. This technique is called, I called it shrapnel. When you throw everything,
Yeah.
all lies.
Well, he's not quite shrapneling, because a shrapnel would be like a list of 10, 20, 30 lies. He doesn't even have a list. He doesn't have a list of one.
Yeah, you have good point. You're a good reader. True.
Okay.
It's even worse than shrapnel. Everything's a lie.
Yeah, everything's a lie. Okay, now I'll vote for Biden.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
Should we finish listening to Biden?
Sure.
I want to make sure.
Graduated last in your class, not first in your
I,
class.
I want to make
Mr.
sure.
President, can you let him finish, sir?
He doesn't know how to do that. He has, you know, you pick
Be surprised.
the wrong guy, the wrong night at the wrong time.
Listen, you agreed with
Here's the
Bernie
deal.
Sanders to the
The
manifesto.
whole idea.
Let him.
There is no manifesto, number
Please let
one.
him speak, Mr.
Number two,
You just lost.
And what is funny, he accuses Trump of lying exactly at the point when he is lying. He agreed with Sanders about government health care, and now he's lying his teeth out of this, saying that it's not. It's just a small number of people.
No, you
And
say
when
it's
Trump
funny. Yeah, you say it's funny, but that's actually when most people accuse others of lying, is when they're lying themselves, right?
Yeah, I guess. Projection, right?
Yeah, like what came to mind to him that something about lying? Oh, I happen to be lying.
You're a liar.
Right.
Liar, accusing of lying, normally when you don't have any good reason, that's when you start calling names. And lying is the first thing. It's kind of calling somebody a liar is also, it's ad hominem attack. It's one of the first things that comes.
It is, but it also, in a real world human situation, if you think someone is a liar or is lying, you don't just accuse them. That doesn't go anywhere. You ask them more specific questions, right? Where were you? What color were his eyes? Whatever. And then you make it clear even to him that it's a lie, right? Like that's how you deal with the person who's lying to you.
That's a good point. Not to him, but there is audience watching it. When you are accusing him of lying, what is it? What specifically he lied?
Right.
If you don't say that he lied about this, then it's just, we can see that you are just name calling, gets involved in name calling.
You might have to send Joe a copy of your book.
Yeah, that'll change everything. Let's see how they finish.
Lost the left.
number two,
You just lost the left. You agreed with Bernie Sanders on a plan.
folks,
Absolutely agreed.
folks, do you have any idea what this clown's
socialized? They
doing?
call it
do you have any?
socialized medicine.
That's he is alert, Trump. I like it. He caught him and he made it clear for everybody else. He emphasized this.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr.
I'll
President,
tell you what, he is not for any help for people needing health care. Because he, in fact, already has cost 10 million people.
Excuse me. I thought that it was Dan Scavino who came up with this idea that Trump won the debate because he didn't lose right, but Biden lost left. It's actually Trump noticed that and mentioned it in the debate during,
But what kind of statement is this? Trump doesn't want health for people. Like what? Come on. He wants his constituents to die. He wants citizens to come on.
Yeah, throw Nani over the cliff.
That's just absurd.
Right.
Their health care that they had from their employers because of his recession. Number one. Number two, there are 20 million people getting health care through Obamacare now that he wants to take it away. He won't ever look you in the eye and say that's what he wants to do. take it away.
No, I want to give them
Number
better
three.
health care at a much lower price
But,
because
and by the way, he
Obamacare
doesn't
is
know
no
how.
good.
He doesn't know how
I've
to do
already
that.
fixed it.
He has never
I've
offered
already
a
fixed
plan.
it to an extent.
He has never done a
as you
single
might
thing.
know, but probably don't.
Gentlemen, you realize if you're both speaking at the same time,
and it's still
let the president, go ahead, sir.
Obamacare is no good. We made it better, and I had a choice to make very early on. We took away the individual mandate. We guaranteed pre-existing conditions, but took away the individual mandate. Listen, this is the way it is. And that destroyed, that. They shouldn't even call it Obamacare. Then I had a choice to make. Do I let my people run it really well or badly? If I run it badly, they'll probably blame him, but they'll blame me. But more importantly, I want to help people, okay? I said, you got to run it so well. And I just had a meeting with them. They said, the problem is no matter how well you run Obamacare, it's a disaster. It's too expensive, premiums are too high, and it doesn't work. So we do want to get rid of it. Chris, we want to get rid of it.
I understand it, sir, but I have to give you roughly equal time. Please let the vice president talk.
Good.
He has no plan for health care.
Of course we do.
He sends out wishful thinking. He has executive orders that have no power. He hasn't lowered drug costs for anybody. He's been promising a health care plan since he got elected. He has none, like almost everything else he talks about. He does not have a plan. He doesn't have a plan. And the fact is, this man doesn't know what he's talking about.
All right, I have one final question for you,
Sure.
Mr. Vice President. If Senate Republicans, we were talking originally about the Supreme.
Should we stop this? Because that's the end of the...
Yeah.
So before we go to summary, if we have any summary, I just want to tell to people who are watching that it's not that we are actors who have specific roles, that I kind of didn't like what Trump was saying and then I'm turning it around. It's not. It's really, I was, some questions I liked what he answers, some I didn't. But like with the first question, now I agree with you that he gave a good answer. And now I understand also why he's interrupting Biden, because every sentence that comes out of his mouth, of Biden's mouth, it's either name calling or just lie. And he can't wait, all this. Well, there goes one lie after another, and then starts saying it. So he calls them when he sees them, especially because Biden was the first who started interrupting him.
Well, we could talk about the interruptions separately. I mean, maybe it sounds like that's something I was continuing throughout the debate, even though I haven't seen the rest. But there is a general feeling after watching them that Trump has specifics. Biden talks about general character assassination on Trump. He's a liar. He doesn't care about health. He has no plan. Those are completely vacuous statements. There's nothing behind them.
True. But perception, if you say it, it's like main media in this country right now. If you say it consistently and emphatically and with emotions, it's kind of becoming believable, don't you think so?
I don't think so. There's let's think about who's watching this. The people who, before this debate, were going to vote for Biden, maybe some of them no longer will. Maybe because of if they didn't know about this healthcare thing, that he backed out of what he promised with Bernie. Maybe less will vote. They'll certainly be less energized to go vote. Did Biden win any Republicans? Did he win any independents by just shouting, he's a liar, he has no plan, he doesn't care about people's health? That's not something that convinces people.
But I tell you this, Philip, I can see it now after we analyzed and repeated several segments and discussed it with each other. I can see what Biden is doing. I didn't see it during when I watched it first time.
I don't know. I'm not. It's fine. Ultimately, people talk about the debates. We're not living in Russia anymore, right? Where you just see things once and repeated. People talk, and when they're talking, there's nothing so far that Biden has said that has any substance. It's just name calling. So if you see or hear any two people who disagree between who won the debate, Biden or Trump, the people who think something about Trump have specifics, right? They have points, they have argument, they have logic, they have something. You could debate it, right? You could point out different things. But on Biden's side, he said literally nothing.
He said what?
Literally nothing.
Yeah, true.
You know, like when you go into a conversation, you want to feel like you have some ammunition. Trump gives people who support Trump ammunition. Biden gave no ammunition to people who support Biden.
Well, it's the same ammunition that has been working for several years. Trump is a liar and he has no plan.
That's not ammunition. That's just name calling. And you know, normal human beings can see through that. It's the sort of thing that can energize the people who are against Trump. They just keep telling themselves in their own little bubble, he's a liar, he's a racist, he's this, he's that, without any evidence for any of those accusations, right? But it's not something, if you hear people talking like that, you're not drawn to them. They have no charisma. They have no pull. They sound like crazy people, right? They sound like they're in a cult.
Yeah, cult, click, right. You can, when you hear this, the response could be only, oh, yeah, Trump is such a liar. There is no discussion. How can you advance this conversation? How can you argue?
It's not even a conversational point. It's a group signal. It's a way to signal that you are a Democrat, right? If you say to people, Trump's a liar, oh, welcome to the club, come on in. That's it. That's all it does.
Yeah. Or you're a Republican, but I'm afraid to lose your job.
Right. But it's not a conversation. It's not a discussion, right?
True.
It's the antithesis of conversation. It's we cannot continue discussing anything that Trump said. We're not even allowed to think about what he said. And those kind of anti-rational memes, as David Deutsch calls them, the things that shut down critical thinking, that's what Biden's trying to do. He's trying to prevent people from thinking critically. And maybe that works in some minor short-term on some minor short-term people. But in the long run, it's an evil losing strategy.
We'll see in 30 days or so, we'll see.
It might take 30 years. I don't know. But
during election, there is election coming. And so far, Biden, according to all polls, is leading.
Let's bet against it. That's ridiculous.
But even markets right now, even markets are saying that.
Well, we've been in finance long enough to know, and you lived in Russia long enough to know that people can be wrong, markets can be wrong, governments can be wrong for a long, long period of time.
Yeah.
There's other issues to discuss, like after the election, what's going to happen with the mail-in ballots, fraud. There's all sorts of things, right? But
he might lose. That's what you are saying. It's not.
I don't know. I don't know if he's going to win or lose. I can't foretell the future. But I can tell you that watching this, I can't imagine any normal, rational human being who had been undecided or on the fence or saw something that would, after these two questions, maybe the rest happened later. After these two questions, would say, "My God, Biden's my guy," because he really nailed it by pointing out basic vacuous irrelevancies.
Okay, it's a good summary, so we can finish on this. Let's see what the reaction will be. Maybe we'll stop, or we might continue and discuss another question. So, if you like what you're listening, please comment.
Yeah, we're not doing this for money or fame or glory or really any reason, come to think of it. but we like criticism. So if you hear something you like, fine. If you hear something you don't like, you disagree, that's even more valuable. Whether it's about the content or the format or anything else, please let us know. We'd love to hear from you.
Please don't call us names. That's not interesting.
Nice. Take care.
Okay.
Bye.